Hello, it's Viper. Unfortunately, I do not have the will or the power to record this week because my mouth is fucked up from getting my wisdom teeth pulled out. And I didn't record on Thursday for some reason. So, I hope you enjoy my friend's narration that hopefully suffices. And I think they did a good job, so please enjoy the video.
Godzilla across the MonsterVerse has been shown taking on many different forms throughout the franchise. Some stronger, and some are weaker. Today we'll be ranking them. We'll be ranking all the legendary Godzillas forms in canon, so anything in canon, the films, comics, and Monarch Legacy of Monsters is soft canon, but we'll count it, so simple, starting off with Shizawa Godzilla. Pretty much the Godzilla about to die in King of the Monsters. Yeah, self-explanatory. Next is the minion Godzilla. Once again, self-explanatory. It's constantly referred to in the comics. He's tired, starving, and weak, with the writer confirming he was near death at this time. He has no feats to argue him higher. All he does is beat up little no-name titans, or titans that are fodder and have no scaling to anyone else. But he can fight, which is better than the King of the Monsters Shizawa Godzilla, I guess. Next is Godzilla during his fight against Mechagodzilla. It's already confirmed he was physically and mentally drained by this point. And it's confirmed he is at half of his power, which isn't just 50%, as we'll get into later. It's unquantitably lower than 50%, just like Kong is at this point in the film. But even still, he can overpower Mecha in a clash.
The two giants collide, sending the robot staggering.
Equal him in beam struggle and
the two glowing rays meet in the air between them.
drag him around a bit, as well as Mecha not being able to pierce skin and not doing more than just a burn that goes away.
He was going to dispatch Godzilla in the same way that Godzilla killed Muto in the first film by blowing an atomic breath down his throat. In retrospect, I think it's probably the only way just about that I can imagine Godzilla actually going down, because his skin is impenetrable. I think the only way you can get in there is blow his guts out, and I think that Godzilla is really close to doing it.
And potentially some bruises. He could have died to Mecha here, though that's only a possibility.
Yes, I think maybe he could have taken Godzilla out here. I don't know. I mean, it seems at least plausible in an interesting way. Nice little throwback. Basically, I think that Godzilla comes close. I think maybe if you'd blown that red beam down his throat, Muto style, that would have done up. But potentially, who knows? We don't know what Godzilla's inside of me, though. It might be just as strong, so who knows?
Though this may just be a testament to how shit Mechagodzilla is more than this Godzilla's strength. Next is pre-nuke form. Not a lot to say here. He's not really impressive, and doesn't get scaling off ancient Godzilla due to reasons we'll talk about later. But he's not near death, and can seemingly actually fight, so next is a tie, I guess, between his awakening form and Nerf G14 form. There's massive time gap between the two, and both should be stronger than 54 Godzilla after absorbing the nuke. But while there is the time gap, and we know in most instances the Godzilla keeps evolving and growing as time goes, 2014 is weakened due to the nerf he gets in the film, which doesn't weaken him outright, just the atomic breath and both beat two Met Titans through Godzilla didn't have help against the Mutos. Next is base 2021 Godzilla. Yes, I know, but let me explain. Despite the statements that purely promo and that's it, by promo Mechagodzilla is stronger than Godzilla, which is obviously isn't true. The actual lore, which holds more weight than the promo, and according to the novel, Godzilla did not get full rest and was still battered and wounded at this point, while some interpret the half-sleep as in he wasn't fully asleep, which wouldn't make sense if he is condemning all the Titans to rest, and his whole goal in Dominion was literally to fall back asleep and regain his energy. Especially when the novel phrases it as he's being interrupted and awoken forcibly due to him sensing Mechagodzilla, but I wouldn't say he's literally at half his power, as some might say here. We also know from Adam that he's even more weakened due to him off-screen destroying Apex facilities.
I mean, Godzilla's pretty tired. I mean, he hasn't had a chance to really slow down this entire movie. I mean, presumably he's been swimming around and, going nuts in the ocean when he's not on screen.
Which also worn him out. So he's clearly quite weakened. While Greg at the least, which this statement is likely generous estimate for his power, states he's below his King of the Monsters self by a bit, and therefore likely below two other Godzillas, the first being Aftershock Godzilla. While he doesn't have his new dorsal plates yet, he got his rest and recovered from his empty nerve and the Muto battle, and scales off the Muto Prime even if he's below him. The Muto Prime being a character stronger than even a current Kong, and Aftershock is considered stronger and faster than the Prime. And while the Prime obviously scales to Aftershock, Aftershock shows he scales back to Prime as well, with the only reason the Titan above Kong being able so strong against Godzilla is the fact he has specific counters to him. Monarch Legacy Monster Godzilla should just be a stronger Aftershock, considering he not only has his new dorsal plates. Once again, usually Godzilla gets better with time, so once again self-explanatory. Next is base Godzilla 19. He's very simple. He should be stronger than Aftershock due to the scales, and both due to his growth, and he is directly above Godzilla 21. He scales to weakened Gorilla, who is quoted to be above everything else, even in a weakened state, pre-GXK. Several times, it should be consistent. And it's stated the same thing about Godzilla, even sometimes directly comparing the two above people like Kong, even after they have seared the charge axe, meaning base Godzilla 19 would be above people like Mech, Muto Prime, Charge Axe Kong, pretty much everyone but Shimo. Sure, Scar is technically not included, but obviously Ghidorah is above Scar. Next is Godzilla 24, once again, really simple, just like Godzilla 19, but likely apply those growing and evolving over time statements to him. Now, we're getting into the amped Godzilla tier's power. First is Energizing Godzilla, or Power Plant Godzilla, or Blue Godzilla, wherever you call him. I know some people like to place him higher for reasons, let's cover that. First off, know the energy source he gets is not bigger than Nuke Amped's. Nuke Amped's energy source is specifically tuned Nuke. It's not like any other nukes in the MV or any other power plants, or whatever are like this fashion. It's just this nuke is specifically tuned to give as much energy to Godzilla as possible. This nuke was so strong it opened a hollow Earth portal, which are compared to black holes, obviously a lot stronger. Despite what a lot of people think, yes, Nuke Amped was in fact leaking out of energy and was overflowing with energy, just like Energized, according to the novel. Energized wasn't going to explode, but neither did his energy go anywhere close to the red when he was active, for likely even stronger than Energized was. So, moot point. Some people like to argue that Energized is compared to Thermo. No, it's outright stated nowhere close to as extreme, and the only thing that comparable is visuals, which mean absolute nothing. However, it's not like Energized is weak. Not at all. He's still at least considered the peak of his base power up to this point, and is also considered a supercharged. But that's really it. Next, we have a tie. Since I can't really decide these two, base evolved versus nuked amped base involved got 2 times amp to his states compared to his already supercharged self in France, after absorbing the largest stockpile of energy on Earth at the time, as well as losing some fat and gaining muscle, gaining more energy reserves, his skin compared to diamonds, yata yata. He does somewhat scale to Shrimo, even though it's obvious even by the novel, Shrimo is still massively above evolved. Nuked Amped also gets OP power source, as we discussed before. He was constantly increasing in power and leaking radiation before he was about to explode. He was going relative to Gehorda. I think this depends on what you think. This is a better feat, slight relative to Shrimo, or pretty good relative to Gehorda. Either way, I wouldn't blame you if you put one above the other. Next is actually Ancient Godzilla, who was not only able to beat up Shrimo in a 1v1, while some may use the novel's description of their fight to differ, it's quickly told us that the cave painting fight from the narrator is unreliable. So this Ancient Godzilla didn't defeat Shrimo. Not only that, he defeated Gehorda. However, it's likely he had help and was able to leave visible wounds and burns on his body. Defeating Shrimo already directly makes you above involved, but Gehorda, while fighting Nuked Amped, had no wounds on him. Even standing there and taking his atomic breath, unlike the description of leaving burns on his body. This part is likely explainable due to the 10 times more radiation there was on Earth at this time. Then we have Spiral Godzilla, a version of Godzilla directly referred to as superior of the events in Boston, and is directly above involved. Now, some people misinterpret the statement meaning it would be above Thermo, but A, they likely have no energy readings on Thermo, and B, Boston could just refer to Nuke Amped, which, considering they actually have energy readings for that, it makes a lot more sense that it's just referred to Nuke Amped and not Thermo, which would make a lot more sense. Anyways, Spiral is not only stated, but shown in films to be boxing up Shrimo, and is likely above her, which the audio commentary backs up.
The other Titans behold the phantasmagoric display. The crystalline spikes on Shiro's back light up as her eyes twinkle.
The only thing that says otherwise is the novel, which is just coming from Kong and Hampton's perspective, who have never seen Spiral in their lives. Finally, we reach the top of our list, the absolute king of the monsters, the strongest form of Godzilla yet. Thermonuclear Godzilla, form he takes on the end of King of the Monsters. Not only is Thermo able to 3-shot the Gehorda, who was 100 times stronger than his base self, and then gets stronger even more so by feeding on Godzilla's radiation. But Viper, this statement is invalid. It's a hyperbole. That's more so the author's opinion, and unlike, for example, the Mothra killing Gehorda statement, there's no obvious lie and factor contradictions to this. Some people have also tried to state that the storms don't equate to his power, when they quite literally do. He drags around that huge-ass storm wherever he goes for a reason. Anyways, after Gehorda gets all juiced up, Thermo still at best 3-shots him, which is at worst. This gets Thermo to over a 1,000 times multiplier to the already nuclear amplified power boost he got. This is a lot stronger than even Spiral's at the best 20 times multiplier at its base. The line of reasoning is consistent. An energized base and Spiral evolved are all referred to as supercharged, while Thermo is an overcharge.
It was because of Mothra's death, her sacrifice, that allowed him to become overcharged.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, share the video, and join the Discord if you want. Daily polls, updates, and more. Peace!